thank everybody for coming out today. At this time, if I could ask everyone to please turn off your cell phones or at least put it on vibrate. I'll introduce Mr. Anderson to you. He'll give a few brief comments. Then we'll have a photo opportunity for the photographers. And then Coach will speak and then we'll take questions after. So with that, Vice President for University Athletics, Ray Anderson.
Well, thanks everyone for coming. Needless to say, this is a very exciting day for ASU and certainly ASU athletics. Just a couple of words about the process. First of all, I want to thank our colleagues, Don Bakke and Steve Webb in particular, along with Amy Schramm, who really helped us as a team put together a process that we thought was sensible, certainly exhaustive, we thought strategically laid out. And as a result of that, we think we have brought to ASU the absolute best person for this position. And so I thank my colleagues and all of our department members who helped us in this endeavor for that contribution. When we talk about head coaches at ASU, we talk about strong leaders, and we talk about passion, and we talk about strategic planning and execution. And we talk about teachers and developers of our student athletes, and we talk about dedicated ambassadors of our university and our community. And we talk about thirst for championships through diligence, intelligence, and work ethic. And we have all of that and much more with Tracy Smith as our new head coach of ASU baseball. Simply put, we have the best out there who is now in here with us. So it really is my honor on behalf of President Crow and all of my teammates here at the athletic department of ASU to introduce to you our new head baseball coach of our Sun Devils, Tracy Smith. Come on now, stand up. All right. And Tracy has got something about the lucky number 13.
You did your homework.
So that this will be Tracy's number, and believe me, this will be the legacy, and this number will be attached to that, hopefully for the next couple decades. Congratulations.
Thank you very much. Okay, absolutely. Well, it's funny that you have the number 13, and I always get asked by my players, Coach, can I get number 13? And I've always said, and I'm going to keep that going here, that if you hit 385, 15 home runs, and 75 RBI, then it's yours. So I appreciate you holding that number for me. First, I want to say that I want to make some thank yous. And before I do that, I want to introduce, because this has been a whirlwind, as you can imagine, over the last week and a half, 2 weeks of just what's been an unbelievable time. But I would be remiss if I didn't introduce just part of my clan who's been along with the journey, and I mean literally the journey. My wife, Jamie Smith, has come to, okay, you're not going to stand up, then. And my youngest son, Jack Smith, is here. And my other two sons could not make it, but I have my oldest son is Casey Smith and was part of our 2013 World Series team, and you know, he's wishing that he could be here. My middle son, Ty, could not make it. He's part of the IU football team, and they're in the middle of what they're doing, but I wanted to introduce them. So I'm going to say first, you know, thank you, and I know, Ray, that, you know, I want to say personally thank you to you as the athletic director, but when we were going through this process, it was the thank you also just with President Crow, because it's about the vision, and that was the most attracting piece to me. So I appreciate this opportunity, and it does not fall short on me, and I couldn't be happier. I also want to thank the guys associated with the process, because this has been a whirlwind, and that being Don Bakke and Steve Webb, just that I've gotten to know, and I can't thank you enough, because I'm a people person, and a big part of that is if those guys are the front line of what it's going to be like here in the whole ASU family, you've got some great ambassadors, and again, I want to thank you guys for being a part of that and making me feel special from day one. I also want to take this time to thank, honestly, the people back at Indiana University. I don't think that I'm sitting in this chair right now without the opportunity to do what we did at a place that I truly love. And so I want to thank certainly Rick Greenspan for giving me the chance there, President Glass and President McRobbie, the opportunity to do what we did and build our program to give me a chance to be where I want to be professionally. And so I definitely want to do that. I also want to thank the players in the past, and certainly looking forward to building a future, because I think this is something that I don't take lightly. I appreciate it, and I'm humble to be sitting here, and I would be kicking myself if I didn't thank those that were a part of this. I think in situations like this, I'm sympathetic to what you're doing. I'm not going to sit up here and talk about a bunch of stuff maybe you don't want to hear, but I thought if you could just maybe bear with me a little bit about my thought process and maybe why I'm here, and then I'm happy to answer certainly any questions. But I'm going to start with my decision, and I want to put some context on the decision. It was a tough decision, and that's why I say I'm going to put context, because I can already see the headline, tough decision. People think you're absolutely crazy. Tough decision to go to Arizona State. No, it's not what I'm saying. It's a tough decision because who I stand for as a person and my family is we invest. And what I mean by that is we invest in our job, in our community, in the state, certainly in the program, the university. And so when you put your heart and soul into something for 9 years, you want to make sure that you're going to some place that's going to do the same thing. And there was no doubt, and I was trying to think about this, how do you do that? If it's a job from the outside, the job to job, there's no question. But that investment piece and the investment in the people, the investment in the resources, it became abundantly clear to me that I had no choice. And so again, I just wanted to say it was a tough decision, but only for the reason that when we jump in with both feet. And when you're going through a process, and I saw the tweets too, very secretive process. I couldn't even walk around the campus to kind of figure out some of the things. We had the good fortune of being here back in 2000 with one of my teams, but you gotta have a lot of faith. And as I said, the people that I met through the process, I felt this is the place that we would be able to, as a family, be able to jump in and invest just like we've done in the past. And again, it was a difficult decision, but a difficult decision because I was leaving behind a lot of people that we've poured our heart and soul in. But I'm truly thrilled, and I would be the biggest fool in the country if I didn't take this job. This is, so anyway, the learning, and I wanted to say this, the learning curve, because I know that's probably on everybody's mind. What's this guy doing, coming from whatever? The only thing that I would say with that is, I'm smart enough to know what I don't know. I mean, my ego is such that I'm never going to be afraid to ask. And I'm excited about getting to know more about the culture, getting to know more about the history. But I just think it's important that you know that to me, because I think that's the easy knock. It's the easy thing to say is, maybe this guy wasn't born in Arizona, and I understand that. But I'm the type of person, and I can assure you our staff will be that way. We're looking forward to doing it, and again, not going to be afraid to ask. And just on that note, it's when was the decision? Tuesday. So since Tuesday, it's been unbelievable the amount of ASU alumni, former baseball players, and not just baseball players reaching out. And so it's like, you talk about a good decision and the text messages and how everybody's willing to jump in and be a part of that and help me shorten that learning curve. I couldn't be happier. And it was funny. And this is a name that makes a little bit of sense to people in the Phoenix area. Larry Fitzgerald, I was on the phone with him today, and And I kept laughing. I'm like, Larry, you're a football guy. You don't know anything about baseball. But he's like, dude, I'm so excited, man. This is going to be great. So anyway, we're going to call upon all those resources, again, to shorten that learning curve, because I think that's important. I would be a fool if I didn't talk about expectations. I don't think, it doesn't fall lightly on me, the expectations of what's expected at ASU. But as I said, I want, and I hope through this process, through the years that we're together, you're going to learn what motivates me. And when I talk about expectations, it didn't take long for Don to wheel me. He didn't even introduce me to the first person before he showed me the Territorial Cup. So I understand, what he's doing there. But I understand what's at stake. I understand what the mission is. But I'm, about me. One of my favorite books of all time is a book. It's called The Fountainhead, and it's about a couple of architects and why a baseball coach is talking about a book about architects. You probably think I'm crazy, but there's two characters in there. There's Peter Keating, and Peter Keating is the one that's chasing, all the admiration and all the accolades and all the things that the public that sees, and that's his motivation. The other character in that book is Howard Rourke. Howard Rourke is doing it because he loves it. He's building buildings and structures because he loves it. And in the end, Howard Rourke's buildings are a lot better. I view myself a lot like that. I understand national championships are important. I understand conference championships are important. I understand that. But I am the type of person that's going to focus on loving and having a passion for what I do. The assistants, the staff that we assemble and put together are going to be the same thing. And I think, and I know that if we lock arms with ASU Nation out there, all that other stuff is going to come. And that's the confidence that I have and what we're going to bring to the table. So I wanted you to know, certainly, about expectations. I get it. But anyway, I just, in short, I'm thrilled. I've got great nervous energy. I told the folks earlier, I said, I can't wait just to sit back in a couple hours from now and just go, whew, okay, this is happening, and really roll the sleeves up and get going. But we're thrilled to be here, and I know I speak on behalf of my wife and family, and we're thrilled. And thank you for letting us be a part of this, and we're looking forward to moving forward. So thank you very much.
Take questions from media members only. We've got microphones on each side of the room. Raise your hand if you have a question. Give your name, give your affiliation, and we'll take from there. Anyone? Mark?
Hi, Coach. Welcome to town. Mark McClune, CBS 5.
Thank you.
You've mentioned a lot of the ingredients that go into program building, but where did you start when you went to Indiana? What are some of the key ingredients to building that program up to where it was?
Well, I'm a firm. It's people. I mean, people will. I remember last year when Florida came up into our regional that we were hosting in Bloomington, and Kevin O'Sullivan is the coach at Florida. And I remember driving him. Actually, this was part of my ploy too. I showed Mr. Anderson at facilities that we used to recruit to. I remember the thing that Kevin O'Sullivan said. He said, how in the world do you recruit people, to a cold weather school with facilities like this? And the answer was simple. It's about people. We sell people. And so we're going to take that same approach here, because this is a people world. I don't care whether it's business or whether it's an athletics team. It's about people. Now, don't get me wrong. That weather is going to be a nice little selling point too, and and moving into the stadium is going to be unbelievable. But the foundation of everything that we do is going to be based on relationships and being good people. So. I must be boring. Nobody wants to ask anything.
Tyler Lockman, Fox Sports Arizona. Obviously, a lot of different draws here. How enticing, though, was the tradition and the reputation of success and everything here at ASU, just everything that this program has already accomplished?
Well, when you're going through, and I keep referring the decision-making process, because it's a decision-making process. You're weighing a lot of things, but at the end of the day, it came back to, and I remember saying to Jamie, I said, I won't use the adjective ahead of that, but I said, what am I? I'm a baseball coach, and if you're a baseball coach, this has everything that you're looking for. And really the decision for me, I'm 48 years old, it came back to when I put on my uniform every time, I'm competing and I have one thing that I wanted, but I'm a baseball coach, and the resources, the tradition, the everything that's available here, and I'm just literally just learning more and more every minute I'm here. All that stuff is here. This is unbelievable. It's unbelievable to me. So, like I said, I'm just happy to be here. There is no decision. This is a baseball school, and I'm thrilled to be directing it.
Tracy, Jeff Metcalf, Arizona Republic. You mentioned to me, we had a little conversation yesterday, you mentioned your memory of Barry Bonds. And then you just said a minute ago that you were here in 2000. Was that with Miami?
Miami,
Okay.
yeah.
So can you just talk a little bit about what maybe struck you from that trip? And did you know Jim Brock at all or have any contact with him?
Well, no, but I'll answer your. I got to ask you a question. Did you get your computer back from your kids? Were you able? You got your computer back? Okay. Well, what I learned, and at that time, so I was at Miami of Ohio at that time. So we're bringing a program in there that hadn't done the regional thing and experienced certainly the success of what was going on at ASU. But my memory of that tournament, and I was actually just sharing. I won't say that. It was about. One of the guys hit a home run. I went out to make a mound visit, and my pitcher was actually giving me the ball before I got to the mound. I do remember that. And I said, well, I guess he wants to come out now. I wasn't even going out to take him out. But I just remember that was a program, and I hadn't experienced that yet in my career. We were at a smaller school trying to build what we were doing and having some success, but it was not at the level that was going on certainly here. And I think we talked about that yesterday, and I'll share that story because the moment that Arizona State called, and I don't know why I thought it, but it was, I remember it was a clip. I don't know what the clip was from, but it was Barry Bonds back when he was playing, just doing a pop-up slide or something at second base. That's instantly what I thought. And I just thought, is this really happening? And to be a part of, again, an institution where those types of names are rolling through here, unbelievable.
Stevie Mack from SportsWatch.com. From a pure recruiting standpoint, I've heard coaches from the north, like Pat Casey at Oregon State, talk about the type of kid that they recruit. Going from a place like Indiana where it is cold versus a place like this that has great tradition, from just a pure recruiting standpoint, does it change your perspective on how you recruit kids and what type of kids you get?
The analogy, I guess, that I would use on that is kind of funny. It was when in 2013 when we went to the World Series, I remember one of our alumni saying, well, hey, Coach, this is going to give you the opportunity to get some really good players now. And I was like, what are you talking about? We just got, we're recruiting good players because we're getting to the World Series. I think there's going to be a different element that's going to be fun for me because we've had to search for the diamond in the rough, if you will. And I'm still going to do that. I'm going to trust my. It's like I told Mr. Anderson in the interview. I'm going to trust my eyes because I think my eyes are pretty good. But there's also that instant credibility of getting in on kids that I'm not going to say we wouldn't. If we're recruiting 20 kids at maybe Indiana, we are going to get on maybe 3 or 4 of the top ones. You say Arizona State to those 20 kids, you're going to be in on 21. So. That's it. I'm going to use a blend, I think, because I think it's important not to get just caught up in rating systems and number systems. I'm going to do what I think is right, and I'm going to have conviction in our recruiting and go with. And I think our track record speaks for itself of the staffs that we've assembled. That's a lot of our kids develop and go on. And we've produced some pretty good kids, and so I think we're going to do that times 10 here.
Coach, I know at Indiana, you took Indiana to the College World Series, breaking a drought for the Big Ten of almost 30 years. Coming to the Pac-12, how exciting is the challenge of taking that step as a manager, facing off against programs like UCLA, Stanford, and Oregon State?
Well, that's why we're in it. If you're a competitor, you want the challenge. And going back to, and I know it sounds corny again, but those were just the simple thoughts that came into my mind when it was ultimately the time to say yes was, you know what, Tracy, you want that challenge. And, you know, we're doing it at a level in the Big Ten with a lot of restrictions and sometimes our hands tied behind our back. And I just said, this is the next step. This is the logical step. So I'm thrilled about the challenge. As I said earlier, I realize the challenge, but you know, if you're a confident person and you feel like you know what you're doing, it should be fun. So we're gonna have some fun doing it.
Any more, Jeff? Mark? Jeff?
Do you know yet what you'll do with your staff, or how? And then I asked you yesterday too, but can you just comment more on what you might know about this team and the players that are coming back?
Well, the staffing question is something that, you know, going back to the people, you know, I hope that I can, you know, get my staff that has helped us do what we're doing there out here, and I don't mean that in any disrespect to anybody, but I'm a trust person, and I think there's going to be some, and I'd rather not talk about it now, but there's going to be some clear advantages as to why I want to do that with recruiting connections and all of those things, but that would be my plan. I'm sorry, what was the second part of that?
Just what you know about the team that you're in.
Again, my mind, and I hope this speaks that you will appreciate my answer to this, but I'm the type of person that I'm 2 feet in today. You know, I'm not looking beyond, and so until that call really officially came, I know some about, but you know, I'm going to wait and make my own judgments on the kids and the program, the guts of the program, if you will, rather than hearsay or rather than other people's comments on them, because I think that's a little unfair to the kids. So I know they're talented. When it got out that I'd taken this job, Kyle Schwarber, the number 4 overall pick, actually was you know, on USA Baseball, so you know, one of the teammates, and he reached out and just said, you know, he's the filthiest stuff I've ever seen. So I understand, you know, but I can't wait. That's the part when I know it sounds crazy, but it's like when you sit here and you're trying to pinch yourself and figure out what the heck's going on, the part that brings me back and puts the big smile on my face is like, I can't wait to get out there on the diamond with those guys. And so I don't know a ton, but I'm not worried about that. They're talented, or they wouldn't be here. So.
Anyone else? Tyler, Mark, Tim? Anybody? All right, we'd like to thank everybody for coming this afternoon.
Good job, Ron.
Thank you. I appreciate it, man. This is.
Let's go to work.